Good evening, and welcome to tonight's episode of the Prince Hall Think Tank. The Prince Hall Think Tank is a monthly show where we talk about various topics related to Prince Hall Masonry. My name is Brother Dave Gillarm. I'll be your host for the night, or at least until Brother Caffey gets here. Um, I'm a past master of Mount Pisgah Lodge number 53, where for the next couple of days, Cornelius Wilson Jr. serves as our worship master. And I also have the pleasure of serving as the worship grand historian of the most worshipful Prince Hall Grand Georgia, where the Honorable Bruce A. James serves as our 17th most worshipful Grand Master. As always, the views and opinions that are expressed by us tonight in no way reflect the views and opinions of the lodges and Grand Lodges in which we hold membership. And also, feel free to post your comments or questions on the live chat on the YouTube page or in the Prince Hall Think Tank Facebook group. And now that we're on Instagram, feel free to post your questions, comments on Instagram as well. And we're going to try to get to as many of those as we can towards the end of the show. Now I'm going to turn it over to the co-host for the night, Brother James Morgan.
Good evening, everybody. I am so excited to be back here live on the Prince Hall Think Tank. My name is James R. Morgan III, and I am a past master of Corinthian Lodge number 18. I also have the honor and pleasure of serving as the Worshipful Grand Historian. Note, Worshipful Grand Historian. We dropped the associate. And that's all thanks to our new most worshipful Grand Master here in the nation's capital, the Honorable Quincy G. Gant, who is about 48 hours into serving as our 86th most worshipful Grand Master. I want to give him and the entire elected and appointed staff of the Prince Hall Grand Lodge of DC. Congratulations on our 170th annual communication, at which I became the Grand Historian. So, I'm no longer the little brother of the Prince Hall Think Tank. We all on a level now. So Dave can stop making fun of me, because y'all don't know Dave makes fun of me when we're not live. But I'm happy to be here. Happy holidays to everybody. I'm looking forward to a great discussion. Thankfully, we got the two best looking members of the Prince Hall Think Tank on here tonight. So we booed the other guys for the night.
And just thinking about your intro and starting off, you said he's the Brother Gant is the 86.
Correct.
And you take that into context. I know DC started much earlier than Georgia, but you're on your 86th Grandmaster, and we're on our 17th.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
it's like that. It's like that. I think you should always just recognize the fact that older brother, younger brother. You know what I'm saying? Y'all should.
But to get into the purpose of tonight's show, tonight we're going to talk about year review. So we're going to just go over our past shows for the year, kind of give you an insight of what we're looking at coming up, what we're looking at for the upcoming year, as well as other projects. And we're also giving you the opportunity to talk about your favorite episodes of the year, give your questions, your comments, and stuff that you would like to see, and get your input for stuff that you like to see for the upcoming year.
Absolutely. And don't forget to post your questions in the chat, because we are watching.
All right. So I guess to start, kind of kick us off for tonight, talk about one of my favorite episodes. It's hard because we had so many. The one that really hit home to me was when we talked about McCarthyism in the FBI. Because on that one, we were able to talk about the purpose of Prince Hall Americanism Day, which so many brothers, just in general conversation, they knew that we have Prince Hall Americanism Day, or some jurisdictions call Prince Hall Day, but they didn't understand the purpose of why it came to be. And it was really all because of the FBI and trying to distance ourselves from being labeled as communists. So we wanted to show how American that we were, and we were having this Americanism Day. Why some of our lodges have American flags in it? Why we say the Pledge of Allegiance? Mm-hmm. So to me, that was a key thing. And then how we knew that some of our leaders, such as Dr. King, had his phone and stuff was being tapped in by the FBI and he was being followed. But now we see that some of our Prince Hall Masons were going through the same treatment, such as past Grandmaster John Wesley Dobbs.
Right.
Um, and when I was able to get his FBI file and to see some of the things that were in it and see how involved the FBI were into our lodges, they didn't just know that we existed. They knew that what was going on in our lodges, membership issues, correspondence between the lodge and the Grand Master. They had all this.
Mm.
So they were able to track everything that we were doing. Um, so to me, that shows a whole different level because even as black men, we went through a stage of, not apologize saying black men, as Prince Hall Masons, we went through the stage of having our lodges burned down,
Right.
having our members lynched, and even when that started to somewhat slow down, then we went to the age of FBI surveillance into our lodges, um, and then I also learned so many things, such as that he was one of the people that was mentioned as being a candidate for vice president of the United States
Mm.
for the Progressive Party. So to me, that was huge. And you look at the list, there were several other Prince Hall Masons that were um, that were listed as candidates as well, including Charlotta Bass, who was a member of the Golden State Grand Chapter, who actually became the vice presidential candidate for the Progressive Party. So to me, that show was one of the best. It was one of the most informative. I still go back and go through that show, go through snippets, and do my research and add on. To me, that was one of my favorite ones. What about you, Brother Morgan?
Well, I want to say that I find it very fascinating that one of your favorite shows was one that I was on vacation for. But that's quite all right. That's quite all right. We're going to move on. Honestly, one of the favorite pastimes of mine with the Prince Hall think tank and just in general for me is to learn about Masonic history in other states, in other countries that I'm not a member of, because they're all interconnected at the end of the day. And so I really enjoyed the fact that this year we talked about two of the oldest and most historic jurisdictions in our Prince Hall Masonic family, which are Pennsylvania and Ohio. Um, we were able to have our own Antonio Caffey to speak on the Buckeye State, and and then we had Worshipful Felix Gardenhire, who was at our annual session this week. By the way, I got a great picture with him and Brother Alton Roundtree, Brother Tahuti Evans, another former guest on the show. So I was very happy to have those discussions. And the thing about those two states, which I think is important, is that as most or all of our viewers probably know, or you should know, that the jurisdiction of Ohio was birthed out of Pennsylvania, just as many other ones. So I thought those two episodes complemented each other quite a bit. I thoroughly enjoyed the fact that Brother Gardenhire was able to not only break down the Masonic history, but contextualize it for us in the broader sense of Pennsylvania's history as a state, which I think is very, very, very important for us to know. And as a tip for our aspiring historians out there, that's one of the biggest things that you need to be able to do if you're doing Masonic history work is contextualize the information in the broader context of the geography in which you're talking about. As far as the episode we did where we focused on Ohio, I was very, very enthralled and entertained by some of the information that Brother Caffey brought forth, particularly about past Grandmaster William T. Boyd. William T. Boyd is, we should be told, we probably should start doing some episodes highlighting some individuals. And if we did that, Boyd would be at the top of that list because I think he was a real funny character. And I to this day, I go back and I listen to the quote where Boyd kind of talked about the first Grandmaster of Ohio, Thomas Stringer. And if you want to know what that quote is, you need to go back and watch the episode and check it out and find it. But I like seeing that type of stuff because we often forget that people of the past were people like us. So the same way that we have disagreements and we make up and then we break up and make up again, you know, those things happened in the past, and so I enjoy reading those kind of correspondences and whatnot because it really does help us to understand who we are today and how we got here, right? So that's that. So that those are probably two of my favorites. Although I know we had more. My question is, I want to know what what episodes our viewers liked. I see a lot of shout outs of what lodges they're from and chapters and things on the public chat. But I want to hear from y'all. What did y'all enjoy about the show this year, and what are things maybe you think that we should can do different? Please make sure that you post that. Thank you.
All right. I think we got just one of the first ones.
Mm,
It's from brother Vernon Vanderberg. Hopefully, I pronounced your name right. If I didn't, I apologize. Charged to my head, not my heart. I give a shout out to him. He just posted a picture a couple of days ago
mm,
at the historic 330 Auburn Avenue, which is our old grand niece. So
magnificent.
shout out to that brother for traveling down Atlanta to the to Sweet Auburn Avenue and getting that picture.
Mm,
He asked about a show regarding Prince Hall Masonry and the Civil Rights Movement.
mm.
Um, but honestly, well, actually, correct me if I'm wrong, Brother Morgan. We kind of covered that probably about what 2 years ago.
Yeah, that was about maybe the third or fourth episode we did that. But
Yeah,
nothing to say we
yeah,
can't go back and revisit it
yeah,
or look at it from a different angle. But
yeah.
that's one of the biggest things that I think is great about a platform like YouTube and the era of technology. If you see something, if you haven't seen an episode by us about something that you're interested in, make sure you go back and check the archives because maybe we covered it on a previous episode. So make sure that you do that. And if you think it's something we should revisit, why not? I see Calvin Greer is asking. He's saying he said he's still waiting on part 3 of PHA versus PHO. Did we ever finish this series? Um, I don't remember. Did we say we were going to do a part 3 to that? I mean, we might have
Yes.
said that episode. Huh? Did we?
It with part three. The thing that the idea was that we were gonna set that up as kind of like a discussion between brother Alton Roundtree
Oh, that's right.
and brother John Hairston.
Forgot about that.
But that part never quite materialized, and we don't know if it's going to materialize or if it'll be in our best interest if it materializes or not, or if brother Roundtree is even interested anymore in doing that. So if we're gonna do a part 3, we're probably gonna look at doing that from a different angle versus having a discussion between those two. That's just my idea. We're gonna definitely have to go back to the drawing board and see what we want to do about that.
Yeah, or maybe we can have Calvin Greer or somebody from our chat who's done some research on it. See. Here's the thing, right? That I always look at is that we're just the vessels for the Prince Hall think tank. This is your show, right? And so if you see something that you think that you'd like to for us to do, or you want to know more about, who's to say who's to say we get all the fun? There's nothing wrong with you going out and doing some research on your own and coming back and bringing it to us because we learn a lot about things. We learn a lot from all of you all the time. Matter of fact, I see here, is it Gabriel or Gabriel? I think it's Gabriel Biggs is saying my favorite show was on Irregular Masonry. We all have someone in the family in one of those groups. My family was shocked to hear that he was irregular. Well, hopefully that helped him out.
Yeah, and with those shows, I see in various groups that show did help a lot of people out
Mm,
because what I've been told is it's not just we're talking about these groups, we're showing them documentation
right.
on how these groups originated, kind of dispelling some of the rumors, such as groups like the International Free and Accepted Modern Masons and Modern Free and Accepted Masons, that they were started from expelled Prince Hall Masons,
Right.
and we kind of helped dispel that wasn't true at all. These groups just came out of thin air.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to show um, documentation on how these groups are not legitimate, I think helps people understand better because it doesn't seem more of like a bastion per se.
Right.
We just present the information, and as being you talked before the show, we're letting the viewers come to
Right.
their own determination
Hmm.
with whatever documentation that they see.
Right. Absolutely. And I think that that's really the key to all this is that, we have to remember whether you're a Mason or Eastern Star or whatever the case is, that we always have to be respectful to whoever we're interacting with. And we want to make sure that we are presenting ourselves in our organizations in the best light, which doesn't always happen in the era of the internet. But I think that truth on its own needs no support. So if you know the truth of Masonic jurisprudence, what have you, that's fine. You don't have to call anybody outside their name. um but here's the truth, here's the facts as you know them to be, and then you go forward from there. So if us presenting that information helps one of your relatives out, or one of your friends out, then I say glory be to the creator. That's what I say.
Yeah.
uh,
And I see a good friend and brother. Oh, this is a good friend and brother, man. I believe one day we may be able to get him on the Prince Hall think tank, and that's brother Tony James.
we're gonna kidnap Tony James and get him on the show.
Yeah,
Look, he
yeah,
been dodging it, man. We're gonna kidnap Tony. I'm coming for you. We're gonna come down there. We're gonna kidnap you. Watch.
yeah. And he talked about the fraternal orders.
Hmm.
The last show that we did,
Hmm.
that to me that was a great one as well.
Yeah.
And we're definitely gonna look at doing a part two to that one. As I was just reading some stuff today about benevolent organizations and their
Hmm.
purpose, um, and it kind of ties into several other fraternal groups. We're there because we didn't even scratch the surface with that last one.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. And truth be told, I think that's an area where, again, when people um, often have this misunderstanding, they think that James Morgan, Dave Gillarm, Antonio Caffey, Ken Collins, they think we know everything about all this stuff. We don't. Look, we're students. We're learning just like you all are, right? We may be a little more advanced. We may be on the camera and stuff like that, but we're learning like you all are. There's a lot of stuff that we present on the think tank is stuff that we just learned recently. We want to share with everybody, right? And so, uh, researching some of these other organizations is something that too few people are doing. Matter of fact, I'm going to do a shameless plug, if that's all right, for a group that I help moderate on Facebook called Our Sacred Orders. It's not a Masonic group, but it's a group where we are looking at the history not just of Black Masonic orders, but of other Black fraternal organizations that don't really get as much recognition and whatnot today. Many of them no longer exist, but we're trying to document that information. So maybe in doing a part two or part three to that, Dave, maybe we can incorporate that aspect at some point.
yeah. And I think we still have one that we've been kicking around.
Hmm.
Uh, and I just thought of it because I love watching Arrow. Um,
What you watch?
the Arrow,
Hmm.
Flash,
Okay.
all the superhero
Right.
movies,
Right.
and they just had a crossover episode
Mm.
called Elseworlds. And I remember while I was watching this, I remember like, oh, we had kicked that around about doing a crossover episode.
Mm.
I'll tell you,
Dave, so
yeah,
I don't know about for the guests, but you just froze up for me entirely.
yeah. I was saying about doing a crossover episode with the Masonic Roundtable. I know we had
Mhm.
talked about doing that as well.
Yeah. I mean, hey, that's something that can be done. We
Yeah.
haven't we haven't talked about that in a little while, but just so you guys know, we do know each other. So we'll give a shout out to our brothers at the Masonic Roundtable. So maybe at some point in the near future, maybe we can do that. But again, it's your show. You got to demand it because we do what you ask for. That's what we do. So yeah, so definitely. Now, my question is for the viewers is I want to know what our viewers are what is it that you'd like to see from us? Because again, I'm seeing a lot of and nothing. Listen, and nothing wrong with saying what lodge you're from and that third. But I want to hear from you all. What are you all looking forward to, as well as what have you enjoyed this year? What should be the Prince Hall Think Tank's New Year's resolution? That's what I want to know about. Let's see. I see somebody. Sister Huffman said, Yeah. She's wondering why Prince Hall Day is celebrated on various Sundays in September, unlike St. John's Day. Hmm. That I don't know. Is it celebrated
So
on different days?
I think very different jurisdictions, I believe, just do what they feel is best for them per se.
Yeah, it's possible.
Um,
That's probably what it is.
I think
Scheduling.
that's probably it's a scheduling thing. As versus it being on a particular day every single year.
Mm-hmm. Right, right, right. Absolutely, absolutely. So we got Sister Hackett from the West Side, from California. Uh, she's asking. She said she enjoyed the episode of Masonic symbolism in the New Year's, and possible to explore symbolism and principal officers. I say anything is possible. You know, we don't we always, as we say in the beginning, we don't want to violate, you know, anything that shouldn't be out in the public, nor show our grand lodges or other organizations in a negative light. But I think that exploring Masonic symbolism a little bit more is definitely something that you'll probably see more of
Mm.
going forward with the show. And I'm happy that you all enjoyed that episode. Uh,
And I think that's something we talked about that doing more esoteric stuff. But
mhm.
as you stated, there's only so much that we can go into
Right.
because I'm not going to do anything that's going to cause me to get a suspension letter. I don't think that's going to go over too well.
I will do something. I will say something that's going to cause you to get a suspension letter, as long as I don't get one too.
Yeah, I think we don't even want to get close to the line
Right,
of
right,
we'll get to close to crossing the line. We'll stay far away from that.
right.
So some of the episodes we see where we might talk about stuff that's esoteric related.
Hmm.
For those that's deep into that study, it's gonna be baby stuff, and that's where we're gonna stay. We're gonna stay really in the baby stuff.
Right, right.
We don't want to get off too deep into it, and then the think tank gets canceled.
Absolutely. I'm about to block somebody from the chat. We have a troll or somebody in here. Somebody's talking about they'd like to see us talk with TMR, but then they put this thing in here about the Bears being NFC champs. That's totally. I don't know what it is about Prince Hall Think Tank. We get Knicks fans now. We got Bears fans. I don't understand. But El Myers, I'm watching you. I'm watching you. Yeah, in the chat there. I see somebody asked. Let me see. Somebody said Daryl Stanbro. I hope I pronounced that right. Asked, can we discuss the origins of Scottish and York rites and PHA? Um, I think that's something, particularly York rite masonry, is something I think we can definitely
Yeah,
talk more about.
and I believe that's something that we did put on the calendar at one point.
Did we?
I
York
think we
rite?
did. I think we put it on the York right. We put the York right on the calendar, but something transpired and it caused us to change the show.
You know what? You know what happened? Past Grandmaster Solomon Wallace died.
Yep.
That was when we did that. We
Hmm.
did all that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that. That was a while. That was a while back too. Yeah,
Yeah.
we need to do that. And see, that's why this is your show. We need reminders like that. Absolutely, absolutely. Uh, someone said, stop. Mr. Bird said, stop hating. We're not going down this road. We're just not going down this road. We're just not. We're just not.
We had a comment in the group. Another good friend of brother Reese Bird from Germany. He is a hater. He always hates on the Knicks. But this is one. I guess he's one of the brothers that's definitely been with us since day one.
Mm-hmm.
And he talked about one of his favorite episodes. In addition to the fraternal orders, was developing the next generation of Freemasons.
Right.
Yeah, that one. Um, when we had New York in the house again, and that's when we even had brother Curtis Black on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So that one was a good episode because so many of us are still. I consider myself still a young brother.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and sometimes when we join our lodges, we don't get that instruction that we need, and we don't feel we don't get that instruction that we need from our older members.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of feel like we're left out in the dark.
Right.
And
Right.
then and then we are put in leadership positions, we're kind of just searching and reaching, and we don't know what to do. And then if you feel like you mess up, then you get your hand slapped. But you don't know what to progress, and it kind of demoralizes you. So having episodes like that where you talk about how how to build, how to be the next generation of Freemasons. I think that's key because all of us are young
Mm-hmm.
and we all still learning.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and doing the young leaders episodes is very important to me, because I think that, as people always say, the next generation of Freemasons. Well, generally speaking, I've been the youngest Mason almost every time I'm around other Masons. I got raised when I was 20. I'm 29 now, so I'm getting old. I'm getting old, y'all. But for me, those type of episodes are great because they allow for dialogue. Because I think we have to have more dialogue between the different age brackets in the craft, because there are different things and there are different concerns that each group is going to have, right? There are some people. Matter of fact, I'm not going to call any names, but there was one or two individuals when we very first started out doing this that were very much against the idea of us doing a show like this and whatnot. And so, for me to be able to have a platform with you all to discuss some of these things and interact with people, it's we're taking the tools that we have of our generation, and we're trying to translate, the information about someone like a Thomas Stringer or a Henry Butler or whoever you want to talk about to a new generation. And so you're right. We don't always get the nurturing that we need, but I was very inspired by my good friend and brother. I just saw him this week, most worshipful Grandmaster Taisan Rasul Dawood, for coming on the show representing New Jersey, the Garden State 973. That's my area code, y'all. That's where I was born. In case you don't know, don't get it confused. But I was very inspired by the fact that he actually formed a millennial committee for the Most Worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of the state of New Jersey. I thought that was very forward thinking, and I hope that other jurisdictions, copy and steal everything about that idea, as well as Grandmaster Emmanuel Stanley. Which, by the way, I was at the. This is just as a aside. I actually traveled to Maryland's annual session last week, and while I was there, I met a brother. Shout out to brother Eric Cheeks out of Maryland jurisdiction. And he really touched me. Something he said to me. I never met this brother before, but he watches the show, and he told me that he loved the show. He liked listening to us talk and everything. And he said that he told me, he said, Brother Morgan, you touched my life. You touched my Masonic life in a major way. And this is something that this is a brother I never met before. So to know that I could have done something like that for at least one person, as we say in the craft, I'm satisfied. Because that's all this is about. We don't get paid to do this show. Although if you want to make a donation, I can give you. I'll shoot you my address. Right. I'll send Dave his cut later. But that to me was very inspirational, and I think it's appropriate, seeing as we're in the holiday season, to remember it's not about these material trinkets that we have. It's about what are you doing for the next person to help them move along. Because as you will help them, you too will be helped.
Yeah, I think like shows like that, like with our young leaders,
Mm-hmm.
such as when we had Grandmaster Hawkins on, Grandmaster Sheldon Prescott,
Mm-hmm.
Deputy Grandmaster Corey Shackelford. Um, like to me, it helps as a young Mason. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like inspiring to see that that they're all young too,
Right.
and they're in leadership positions. So I know now that I don't have to be old and to be Grandmaster or
Mm-hmm.
Deputy Grandmaster or Grand CEO or any of these positions. Um, and I can still be young, even if I never attain those positions. I can still make an impact at my local level, just being a young Mason and coming with different ideas. And listening to some of the stuff some of the stuff they said to me was just very inspiring. Um, and so I think we kind of blessed in Georgia. Pretty much all our elected Grand Lodge officers are fairly young. Even our Grandmaster, he's still a fairly young guy, in my
Right.
opinion. And our
Mm-hmm.
Deputy Grandmaster, he's the youngest elected Deputy Grandmaster in Georgia history.
Right.
So, I mean, these guys are young. They're still energetic. They're still moving around.
Right.
Our Grand Senior Warden, he's kind of like middle aged, but he's still kind of smooth.
Right.
And our Grand Chief Warden, Jonathan White, he's still a young guy. So, um, I think I see more youth in a lot of leadership positions than anything now.
Mm-hmm.
And we still have so many young young brothers that's doing amazing things. Like we still got tons of Antoine Lillies out there,
Mhm.
Damian Jacks, Michael Williams.
Uh,
Um,
I'm not talking to Damien Jack. I'm not talking to Damien Jack. And the reason I'm not talking to Damien Jack, if in case you don't know, Dave, is because Damien Jack went to the state of New Jersey to the Lodge of Research there, and he gave apparently an amazing presentation that I was getting phone calls from guys from my home state. They're talking about, oh man, Brother Jack, he's so great, he's so this, and I know Brother Jack is that great. But the problem is, I gotta follow him now because I'm supposed to be speaking at the Lodge of Research in New Jersey in the new year. So he made my job that much harder. I love Brother Damien Jack, but he raised the bar that much higher apparently for me, and I gotta follow behind him. So I love
See,
Brother Jack, but you know,
I
y'all
love
forgive
brother,
me.
I love brother Jack too. But how you feeling right now? That's how I feel. Like my other good friend, brother Marlon Honeywell, another young brother.
Oh man,
It's my class. Trying to follow that guy after he does a presentation, it's impossible.
right, right.
Uh, and you go back to Brothers Honeywell show.
Hmm.
I still watch it over and over.
Right.
His presentations are awesome. And we have him, brother Eric Conahia. I mean, you got tons of young Prince Hall brothers all over the globe that are doing such amazing things right now.
Hmm.
Um,
Sisters as
it
well,
helps.
absolutely.
Yeah, it makes me inspired to be a Prince Hall Mason.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to give a. Let me see here. I saw something from Sister Huffman. She asked that we add to talk about the important connection between fraternal groups and genealogy, using proceedings as a primary source to help chip away at brick walls. You know something? That's like Sister Huffman. I'm gonna make that happen in 2019 if God gives me the power to do so, and I can wrestle Dave down because I want to do an episode on genealogy now, just because she said that. So maybe that's something we can do. See, again, this is y'all show, so you give us ideas, we take them.
And I
Happy to
see a
steal everything.
another brother. I get to question a lot, but another brother just commented about it about making this a podcast.
Hmm.
To me, it would be extremely difficult to make this a podcast. Like episodes like this would be fine, but we have so many episodes where we do PowerPoint presentations, and you just can't upload a presentation to a podcast.
Hmm. You're not
Uh,
not the audio. I mean, it's possible. It is possible. We
we
have
can do the audio, but not the visuals.
It's possible.
And
Maybe we can talk about offline, brother
yeah,
Gillarm, and look at the technical specs. I was like, let's put a bookmark there, and
mm,
maybe we can look at it. Maybe we can look at it for sure. But see, this is the type of things we need to know because guess what? If someone else has the capability or the knowledge to do something, let us know. Maybe we need better microphones. Maybe we need this. Maybe we need that. Let us know. We want to hear from you. That's what this is all about at the end of the day. So Dave, what are you looking forward to masonically in the new year?
well, right now I'm looking at hopefully 2019, June 2019. Volume one from CM to James will be released.
Mm,
This is the book that's covering the history of Prince Hall Masonry in the state of Georgia. Um, as of right now, I believe I'm about 75 to 80% complete. I had to push through some areas. If I find some other information to fill in some other gaps, that's so well and be. I might have to release, another book later on. Um, but this book, well, volume one is going to cover the years from 1866, roughly 1866 to 1961, which is going to be the establishment of our first lodge in the state of Georgia, Eureka Lodge number one, all the way to the end of John Wesley Dobbs' tenure.
hmm,
Volume two is going to cover X.L. Neal's tenure, all the way up to Bruce James' tenure, and then there's going to be an additional chapter for our incoming Grand Master. I'm about 99.9% sure who that's going to be, especially since he was on an episode of the Prince Hall Think Tank. But and he was featured in Terra Masonica. I'm not going to call any names, but I have a feeling that that's who it's going to be. But in any case, the final chapter is going to be it's going to cover the incoming Grand Master. Some of the things that I found interesting in doing Volume One is about James Sims' life
Mm-hmm.
and the things that he were doing. For years, we didn't know where he was at, why he wasn't listed on any of the lodge returns. Um, then found a breakthrough and found lodge rosters during this period of time with him listed as a member, a dues paying member. So that stuff kind of helped out with dispelling some of the rumors about James Sims. Another one, another book plug, Pussycat of Prize Fighting, about brother Tiger Flowers, doing research on Tiger Flowers. So not only was he the first black middleweight champion of the world, he was also a member of Progress Lodge 181 in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and finding stuff that he did, why he
I
was,
gotta check that out. I'm into boxing. I gotta check that one out.
yeah, and why he was so marketable and accepted by quote unquote our lighter skinned community versus Jack Johnson. And that type of stuff is explained. Um, and that was kind of key. Then who his circle was. So all this stuff is going to be covered in volume one. Um, I say it should be anticipating it being ready for purchase by our grand session in June. So more details are going to come out about that, about how to purchase it, um, and I guess that's really the biggest project that I have coming up for the next year.
Well, I'm looking forward to that personally, because you talked about it quite a bit with me, and in the time that you and I've known each other, I've learned a lot about Georgia. Oh, excuse me, pardon me. I've learned a lot about Georgia's Masonic history and whatnot. So to have that in one volume, let alone two, I can't wait. I want to be one of the first people to get a copy of it. I'll ask you this. This is a preview. What if you had to, in one sentence, if you had to tell somebody what makes the state of Georgia and Georgia's Masonic history unique, what would it be?
Wow. I would say one thing that makes Georgia Masonry unique is that our members have so much influence on so many different areas of Black history. If you take one of the biggest things that we talk about when it comes to Black history is the Civil Rights Movement, um, and you look at the March to Selma, the Bloody Sunday,
Mm.
the church that it was started in, where the meeting was held at, the first pastor became a Georgia Mason, or was at one point a Georgia Mason. It was led by two people, Hosea Williams and John Lewis, who became Georgia Masons. James Orange, Andrew Young, all these people, part of Martin Luther King's inner circle, were all Georgia Masons. So we talk about the biggest part of the civil rights movement in Georgia Masonry was at the center of it. Um, I think that's one thing that makes us unique. When we had grandmasters, like early grandmasters such as William Terry, who were leading anti-lynching protests um, in 1896, stuff that's not even it's kind of unheard of. So I think that's kind of what makes Georgia Masonry unique is our members, and our members have had so much of an impact on African American history.
Magnificent, magnificent. Well, in 2019, let's see here. Dave, should I do it to him?
Go ahead.
Should I do it to him?
Go ahead, lay it out.
Well, in 2019, I'm looking forward to dialoguing a little bit more with everybody. As you all know, the next episode we're going to be talking about a little book that's coming out, which I happen to have a copy of right here. My first major independent book project. It is here. I do have a copy, and we'll be talking about my new book, The Lost Empire: Black Freemasonry in the Old West, 1867 to 1906. The book is, as you can see, it does exist. I've been talking about it. People have been asking me. They said, "Brother Morgan, how can I get a copy? Where can I buy it?" Well, it'll be available, but you gotta watch next week's episode to find out how you'll be able to get copies of it and everything. But I've been working on it for 4 years. I'm very excited. Brother Dave got to read it as a preview to review it. So we don't got to get too deep into it right now, Brother Gillarm, because we'll be talking about it a little bit more next week. But can you let's give them a taste of what you think.
All right. I told you earlier before we start the show. This is my personal opinion. This book is the standard. If you're gonna write a book about a person, I feel it has to be able to paint. You have to paint a picture. The reader wants to be. I feel like the reader should be transported back to the time frame during the life of the person that you're talking about. That way, they can kind of almost see it firsthand, and and you do an excellent job of doing that. Reading this book, I felt like I was in the Old West. I felt like I was seeing Matthews do all these things. And also for the viewers, this is not a National Grand Lodge or a PHO book. It's not really even a PHA book per se. This is strictly a Matthews book. This is about the life and times of William Matthews. And the stuff that he was doing. Yeah, there is Masonic stuff that is talked about it because that's who he was. But it's not a book taking any side or anything. It's just telling about Matthew's life. And it's going to have some stuff in here that's going to make your mouth drop. That's all I'm going to say about it. We talked about one of the things that happened earlier before the show that made your mouth drop. But also, one thing about reading his book, it taught me on how to handle different things while I'm writing mine. Like, for example, he'll say, Brother A said this about this subject. Brother B said this about this subject. And this is why they said what they said, and he leaves it up to you to determine which set of facts are correct or which documentation is correct. So it doesn't take sides. It showed me on how to handle stuff like that. This book is an excellent read. If you don't have this book on your shelves in 2019, we come to see about you personally.
That's right. That's exactly right. And I appreciate that. Sister Huffman, I will post the link so you can buy it, but you gotta watch the next episode. We look. We're giving you the preview now. We're giving the preview now. You see it exists, but watch next week's episode and just be a little patient, and we'll give you the announcement for the launch date and the link to buy and all that good stuff. So tell your friends and everybody. I do want to take this time, and this person does not know that I'm going to do this evening, but I do want to take the time to publicly acknowledge and thank Sister Christine Hackett from the Golden State Grand Chapter of California. She was on my editorial board, I guess you would say, so to speak. She actually reviewed and she marked it up and put a comma here and you misspelled this and that. So I want to give a shout out to Sister Hackett for taking the time out of her busy schedule to be one of the three main people I had editing this work. So as you see, y'all, you can't just watch the Prince Hall Think Tank. We want you to engage in the process. And I want to thank Sister Hackett so much. I love you. And, thank you so much for taking the time out to help me out with it. I will never forget that. And I don't know that I'll ever be able to repay her, but, I'm sure we'll figure something out. Maybe I'll buy Dave some bunny bread or something. And maybe that'll help her. See, if you don't know, that's an inside joke between us three. Y'all ain't ready for it. Y'all ain't ready for it.
Yeah, definitely. She is definitely an asset. Has a remarkable mind.
Absolutely.
One of my, I would just scroll through the comments. One of the best ones that I saw, one of the best suggestions, is do an entire show on John Wesley Dobbs. I'm in favor of it. I love talking about Georgia Masons, especially John Wesley Dobbs. I could do a 3-hour special just on Dobbs. I think it's a great idea. I think we're going to vote on it. I'm going to try to put as many votes as I can. I'm trying to reincarnate Preston Collins and Curtis Black and use their votes as well. No, I'm just joking. John Wesley Dobbs had a very interesting life, and I think we could very easily do a 2-hour show on him, John Lewis, Amos T. Hall, Willard Allen. There's numerous ones And
You skipping over. You going all these other states and stuff. You're not acknowledging the District of Columbia. I mean, we here in DC. See, I got to stand up for my Grand Lodge a little bit because we had Arthur T. Brooks. Okay, when you go back, we had Charles D. Freeman, Thomas L. Johnson. So you're not just gonna skip over DC, Dave. I see what you did there.
but I do think probably a show that we could do is kind of go with the second comment about a show about the Order of the Eastern Star.
Mm-hmm.
It's a show about Thornton Jackson.
Ooh.
I think that one would probably be an eye opening because we would incorporate the Order of the Eastern Star stuff, but we would talk about the Masonic and the Scottish Rite and everything else, and we could package everything up into one. I think that may be like a
may be a good one. Y'all see the smiles ear to ear, right? Because he mentioned one of my favorite people, Thornton Andrew Jackson. Yeah, something, and that's something we have not done really. We haven't talked as much about individuals. We've done a lot of subjects. We've done some states, but to highlight different individuals, maybe that's something that we can go back on. Dave, if you behave yourself, I'll talk to the guys. Maybe on your birthday month or something, we can highlight John Wesley Dobbs or something. Maybe we can do that.
I don't think the world is ready to know about John Wesley Dobbs.
Oh man. Well,
how many grand? I think I talked about this before, but to my knowledge, he's the only Prince Hall Grand Master that has a statue. And I believe he may be the only one that's ever called a fight or been a commentator or whatever for a fight at Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
See, let me go ahead and sit back. I don't want to let too many cats out the bag.
The only Grand Master to have a public statue. He could be. I don't know. I feel like that shouldn't be the. I feel like that is wrong, but I can't think of anyone else to. I'm going look, y'all. Look. I got $50 for anybody who finds another statue of a Grand Master that's not John Wesley Dobbs. That was a Prince Hall Grand Master. I got $50 for you. I'm gonna put it up.
You know what? How about this? How about we change this? Change the bet. If anybody can find another statue of a Prince Hall Grand Master, an actual Prince Hall Grand Master, not somebody else's claim that served as Grand Master, actually elected and installed as Grand Master of a Grand Lodge, I will send you a copy of Brother James' book.
Oh man, that we done raise the stakes.
So you have it here. If you can do it, you can find it. Post a picture of it. You're gonna get. I'm pretty sure James Morgan wouldn't have to issue autographing it.
Not a problem.
You're gonna get a copy of his book on me.
Not a problem at all. Hey, look. See, again, we want y'all to engage the process. This is not just a YouTube show or a Facebook group or Instagram. This is a movement that we're trying to create and to establish to forward. What Prince Hall affiliation is all about. The brotherhood, the sisterhood, and for those of us who are trying to be scholarly, we want you to still be brotherly and sisterly, but we want you to be scholars at the same time. So get out there. Maybe somebody may be able to find something. So we want you to do that. Somebody said, "Is a wax figure sufficient?" Oh, you know what? I know where they're going with that.
No, we need an actual statue. I think because we're talking about Maryland, right? With the wax.
Yeah. You're talking about Sam Daniels. Yeah.
No, we need an actual statue.
Yeah. You know what? I feel like in Maryland they might actually build a statue of Sam Daniels just to do it, just for the heck of it. Yeah, definitely. I see Brother Jack is in the house. Mm-hmm.
With past Grandmaster Samuel T. Daniels, we have our assistant deputy Horace. Well, I'll probably post the pictures of it. Them two look identical. I posted a picture of Samuel T. Daniels in 1961 at Dial's funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And then a picture a couple years ago of our assistant. Yeah,
absolutely.
Exact same pose, everything. So I thought that was very interesting about Brother Daniels.
Hey, you never know. Let's see here. We've got someone else said, I prefer someone else. Oh, Sister Hackett said she prefers if we did a show on William E. Terry. She prefers Terry over Dobbs.
Wow. Sean William A. Terry would be interesting as well. I think he's one of the most underrated grandmasters that we have, and I enjoy the history.
Mm,
And obviously, I'm covering him in um in volume one. And one of the things I'm be talking about is his connection between him and Thornton Jackson.
right. Okay.
Um, this Terry did so many great things here, and to have a man during his period of time. He was born around 1850s. He died in 1901. Well, sorry, 1846. I believe he was born. He died in 1901. He had 5 kids, 3 boys, 2 girls. All of his sons became medical doctors. His daughters became principals who married medical doctors.
Wow.
So he had a very, very, very prominent family. Um, so a show on him would be excellent. I have tons of material.
Right. Right. Right.
I have handwritten stuff, original pictures of William Terry. That one will be an interesting one as well. But I'm always a fan of John Wesley Dobbs. He's like the rock star.
Yeah, we all have our favorites. Trust and believe we all have our favorites. The reason why I mentioned Arthur E. Brooks, excuse me, in my earlier was because he was a member of Corinthian 18, as was Frank McKinney, who was another one of our grandmasters here. So we all have our reasons for liking who we like, and that's no problem. My main thing is making sure that we all are aware of who these individuals are, and we love everybody, but then that's how you pick and choose people because you know you got to know who they are first. So yeah, yeah. I'm wondering. Oh, let's see. Javon Greenway asked to do a show on Grandmaster Corey Adams from Ohio. Um, sorry,
Kathy,
sorry, brother
Kathy.
Greenway. Kathy's like,
Well, yeah, yeah. Kathy would definitely run point on that.
yeah, I'm
But
sure.
for those that didn't know, the Corey Adams Logic Research is the reason why the Prince Hall think tank even came into existence.
Absolutely.
So just like many lodges, Grand Lodges, where they trace their lineage to Ohio,
Hmm.
the Prince Hall think tank traces lineage to Ohio as well.
Hmm.
And I think a show on Corey Adams would probably be great. I don't personally know a whole lot about him.
Hmm.
That's why we have Brother Caffey.
Right.
Uh, so um, I think that's something that very well could happen.
Yeah, yeah, it's possible. It's possible. I see. Brother Jack asked. He said another show on Young Masons should be done. The Honorable Quincy Gant, new Grandmaster DC. Well, let me take that in two parts. The Young Leaders is a mini series that we do. So you will have more shows, more episodes in that mini series going forward. With the think tank, hopefully as long as the think tank's around, which is hopefully forever, right? Um, as far as the new Grandmaster here in DC goes, I cannot and will not dare speak for him. Only thing I can say is, I'm sure the other brothers wouldn't mind him having an open invitation to come, and if that's something that he wishes to do, and we schedule it and whatnot, then I'm sure that we'll see him on at some point. But I won't dare try to speak for him, But if you want him on, maybe let him know and let him and not just Grandmaster Gant, but any other Grandmaster or Grand Matron or whoever else that's in our leadership, because we really want this show to be a vehicle by which people are learning. And I've been very humbled to see how we've been able to bring some people onto the show who are grandmasters or other folks, and then someone else in another part of the country will say, "Oh, I never knew that someone was doing that." I've gotten a lot of positive feedback personally. To go back to Grandmaster Dawood of New Jersey about his Millennial Committee, I've met a lot of brothers and sisters who said that's a great idea. We should do that here. We have to exchange and we have to dialogue about these things. We all have similar problems, and I think a lot of times we have similar solutions too to those problems. So,
And like as far as like incorporating more OES stuff,
mhm,
we've had one show with Sister Victoria on,
mhm,
which was excellent. Sister Victoria is awesome. She's an awesome
absolutely.
sister. And I had a conversation with her grandworthy matron at the time. She was a phenomenal sister, very supportive.
Mhm,
Um, I mean, nothing but the highest praises to that grandworthy matron. And I believe that may go across the board There may be other grant winning matrons and stuff that's probably just as supportive
Mhm.
of the Prince Hall think tank and just OES education.
Mhm.
Um, as we definitely had our Grand Masters on board with this, but maybe in the future, a couple of our Grand Running Matrons will be open to being on as well and sharing what they have and what they have going on in their jurisdiction and their experiences in leadership and and progressing the order Eastern Star.
Right, right, right. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that the sisters are definitely too often overlooked.
Mm,
Um, in historical study, I do know, and I'm not gonna speak on it just yet, but I do know of some publications coming out from some of the sisters who
yep.
who are who I think
Yep.
many times are more hard are working harder than some of us brothers. So we always have to give shout outs to our sisters, our mothers, and whatnot. Not just on Mother's Day. We have to give those shout outs as well. So
Mhm.
stay tuned 2019 because I think you're gonna have a couple of if you after you get done purchasing the Lost Empire, I think you're gonna have some other things coming down the pipe that you want to make sure you save your pennies
Yeah.
for. So I would say stay tuned for that. Let's see, Calvin Greer asked, he said, "What about Prince Hall Masonry in the 21st century? Are we relevant today? Practical application of light in restoring Black families, social justice, economic independence." Calvin, I would say that to that question, I think that's the whole point of the show. Overall, I think is to try to make sure that we are relevant, to show people why we're relevant, to stay relevant, and how
Speaking
can
of,
we increase that? Yeah, yeah, go ahead, Dave.
um, we'll see. I think that the same sister that you were just speaking about, she has a phenomenal mind. She's an amazing researcher. I got to circle the wagons with her
Mhm.
about her upcoming publication.
Mhm.
So I apologize, I've been distracted doing so many other things. But sisters like her are definitely needed,
Right.
and we have them.
I,
Like,
I think I think we're safe to say some names. I think we're safe to say some names if you want to.
oh yeah, Sister Pickett, yeah, Christine Hackett, um, definitely Ann Huffman. For those that do not know Sister Ann Huffman, this is a person that you probably want to write. You want to write her name down as somebody that could help you out in a crunch when it comes to research. When I started with this genealogy stuff, I was really a novice. One conversation with her opened up so many different avenues of research for me, and I was able to apply that to so many other places. She's a phenomenal teacher. Um, so and it's just such as like that are definitely needed. She is I can't even call her a research animal. That seems like an animal like this level. She's like way up here somewhere.
Mhm.
Um, she's just a master teacher, in my opinion.
Right. Right.
And she's definitely much appreciated.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think that in the future, I think that's one of the critiques I guess I would say when I look back on our show is making sure that we're incorporating more about the sisters and whatnot, and having them to tell their stories. But sisters, at the same time, we need you there. We need you to be doing that work. But many of you are, but you're just so busy doing other things. That's why we want to make sure that we give you a shout out. Really at all times, really, because they always say what's the term they say whatever you every behind every good man is a better woman and stuff. I look, if you when you really study our history, especially as African Americans, I don't think that phrase is true at all. I really think it's more so really the women have been in front of us, they've been to the side of us, they've been in the back holding us up when we were too tired, we were breaking down and stuff. So I always tell people, and you can quote me on this. I don't blame particularly black women. I don't blame them for anything. Because they're the ones who've been
Mhm.
holding us together. This is coming from a guy who spent almost a little more than half my childhood growing up with a single mother. So we definitely want to make sure we encourage that research um, on the sisters and the research that they're doing. And I also want to give a shout out to Sister Catrice Vandross. And as a matter of fact, we don't do a lot about current events either. But recently, the Leela Amos Pendleton chapter of the Phyllis Auxiliary here in DC. They hosted Dr. Stephanie Myers, who wrote a book on, if anyone's ever heard of Queen Charlotte Mecklenburg, right? Who was she was the wife of King George III, the king that George Washington and them were fighting against in the American Revolution. They had her to come down to our Grand Lodge and give a lecture. And the sisters, everything was organized. It was great, a great program and everything. These are the kind of things that sisters are doing, but a lot of times people don't see, particularly in the historical world. So I think that, the think tank, we do have a responsibility to try to kind of highlight that material more so, and prayerfully we will be successful in doing that. So yeah, so Dave, I see you. Let's see, we're gonna get ready to wrap up, I guess.
Yeah, I think we could go ahead. I think the hour is well spent.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had great commentary. Some of the things, if we didn't address it on the show, we will continuously address it in the Prince Hall Think Tank Facebook group. So if you're not a member, go to Facebook, search for Prince Hall Think Tank, join the group. As we're sitting here, I got Facebook open as well, and I'll approve your request to join, and we could go ahead and continue those conversations in our group as well. And we're very responsive there. We're between us four are monitoring it usually on a regular basis. So whatever we don't address on the show, we always try to address in the group as well.
Right.
We're not going to leave you stranded. So so yeah, feel free to continue to post your comments, suggestions, and we're gonna address them as fast as we can.
Absolutely.
All right, but to go ahead and wrap up, definitely want to thank you all for your support over the upcoming year. Um, and we look forward to your continued support next year. We have several projects that's going to be coming out. Some of the shows that's going to be coming up next year. It's going to be we got some barn burners that's planned. Hopefully, we're going to have a good brother Eric Conahia on. If you never heard brother Conahia speak, I don't care what you're doing that day. You want to mark your calendars for that day. You want to hear that brother speak. He is amazing. We got Brother Morgan's book coming out, so be on the lookout for that. We're gonna have more details about that next show, and the offer still gonna stand. If anybody can find a statue of any Prince Hall Grandmaster, an actual statue, I'm gonna purchase your book. But other than that, just thank you for your support. We apologize, Brother Caffey and Brother Collins couldn't be with us tonight. They are here with us in spirit. As always, pick up a book and read it. And we're always going to suggest different books to read. And if you don't have any other sports team, we will gladly adopt you into the Knicks family.
Anyway.
The St. Louis Cardinals.
Anyway. For the record, y'all. For the record, I'm a Laker fan through and through, and we win games. Maybe not all the time, but we got rings. I don't know about that Knicks stuff.
All right, Brother Morgan, your parting comments.
Well, I want to take this opportunity to again thank everybody for joining us. There are many other things you can do with your Sunday evenings, but when the Prince Hall Think Tank comes on, I know that we're guaranteed to have, especially some of our regular viewers and listeners, and we have a lot of other ones as well who watch it, on the replay and whatnot. And the reason why I know is because not only can we can look at the numbers, but we also you guys also talk to us. When I was at Maryland's annual session, there were plenty of people there who I knew, and plenty of people I was like, "Who the heck are you?" But they knew me, and they knew the show. They knew Brother Gillarm, they knew Brother Collins, and all of the comments was nothing but love, And as I mentioned earlier, about Brother Cheeks earlier, and there were a number of other people as well. I don't want to leave anybody out, but there were a number of other people as well who just gave us a lot of positive feedback, and we get it all the time, and so that's very humbling. we don't do it for the accolades, but it's definitely appreciated. I do want to share with you all. Many of you may know this, many of you may not, but this year, a few days ago, our outgoing Grandmaster, the Honorable Philip David, saw fit to award me this Master Mason of the Year award for Most Worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of the District of Columbia. And while I know that I did a lot of work, in his administration and for the Grand Lodge, and I definitely don't want to belittle that. I am quite sure that, because I know that he watched the show and whatnot at different points, and I'm sure that he heard of other things from other people and whatnot. I'm quite sure that your support also helped me to get that award and other things that we've been able to do personally as well as masonically. And so I want to thank all of you brothers and sisters, and even those who aren't necessarily members of Masonic Order, but who may tune in and give us positive feedbacks. Every now and then we got to kick somebody out of the chat room, but like tonight. but beyond that, I just want to thank everybody for the positive feedback that we get. And if you have any critiques, no problem. We're not perfect, but we appreciate the support and you taking the time at your schedules, because you don't have to do it. And hopefully in 2019 it'll be even better. Dave?
Yeah, so as always, thank you for your support. And we'll be looking forward to seeing you next week. Have a good night.
Next week. Take care.